Hello, my treasures. It's time to continue the reveal season for March of the Lich King, the new Hearthstone set. This time, we are going to be doing something a little bit different than what I've been doing for the rest of the set, where I'm not going to be grouping the cards by rarity, but by the priority in whatever synergy they actually have. So let's begin. The first card revealed today is Grand Magister Romanith, who is a 9 cost, 5 attack, 7 HP minion or mage that has the Valkyrie. Recast each spell you've cast this game that didn't start in your deck. So my guess of actually having some dragon synergy in mage within the set was wrong. However, we do get some cards that do support another mage deck that was brought back into standard with the new rotation of the core set in the form of Casino Mage. And while Mage itself has a lot of targeting spells, which would make this card a little bit worse than you would normally expect, you can actually just choose on your Discover effects cards that don't target, thus making this way better. You can get a bunch of Drake Fire Amulets or some other really high impactful, high cost spells. You could also use it in combination with some of the later cards in order to replay spells from other classes. It's just a really nice payoff for a casino style mage, and while it isn't Yogg-Saron himself, it is a pretty close card in comparison. Alright, the next card revealed is Vast Wisdom, which is a 3 cost spell that discovers 2 spells that cost 3 or less, swap their costs. So you basically could get a direct damaging spell that would cost 0 if you choose Flurry and something like Frozen Touch. And because the majority of mage spells at 3 or less, or actually removal tools, or even just draw power, you should be able to be very consistent off of something like this. This also does help the questline for mage, which is actually kind of cool, as it could in theory give you 2 schools of magic for the price of a turn of doing nothing to complete your questline. But being able to run a card that actually adds to the consistency of getting all 3 schools of magic that you need for your questline should be very important. It also does work pretty well with the last legendary that we just went over, as this does provide you with 2 spells that don't normally start in your deck. You could also use this in something like Secret Mage in order to generate some secrets that you normally wouldn't want to run. There's a lot of little possibilities. It's probably a really good card, and I can't see a world where it doesn't see play. The next card revealed is Prismatic Elemental, which is a 2 cost 1 attack 3 HP elemental minion. With the battlecry, discover a spell from any class. It costs 1 less. So the pool is going to be incredibly big for something like that. And I don't know if every single card, given how Hearthstone has been shaping up recently, where we are having different archetypes supporting a different style of decks, will make a card like this incredibly useful outside of a casino style mage deck, where you're probably going to want to run this just so you can get additional copies of spells that won't backfire on your own face when you're using Grand Magister. So on turn 2, it is actually pretty decent. You also could use things like Amalgam of the Deep in order to generate additional copies of this, so you can go down more of a casino route. There's a lot of little possibilities a card like this could see play in, and it probably will see some type of play in a casino mage, because a lot of people like that style of deck, and I can't see a world where between all 4 of these cards that a deck like that doesn't come into fruition, because there is enough random generation for mage right now for a deck to fully be something. Alright, the next card revealed is Energy Shaper, which is a 4 cost 3 attack 5 HP minion with a battle cry that transforms all spells in your hand into ones that cost 2 more. They keep their original costs. So in combination with the Grey Sage Parrot, you could in theory get a 5 or cost spell for only 3 mana, which is actually incredibly good. This is actually going to be incredibly consistent if you have enough 4 cost spells within your deck to either generate you a Blizzard or a Deathborn, both of which are really good removal tools. However, if it doesn't just transform into mage cards, then this will be a little less consistent. Still, the pool of really large spells within Hearthstone Standard right now is small enough where I think it would be probably pretty consistent, even if it is transforming the cards into random spells of a different class. Again, this card supports a Casino Mage style of deck and acts as a pseudo mana cheat for that style of deck, which is always really good. All right, time for the Druid cards, which are really exciting. The first one being Beetlemancy, which is a 5 cost choose 1 spell that gains 12 armor or summon 2 3/3 beetles with taunt. The amount of armor on this is absolutely insane, which is really, really cool. And I was correct when I guessed that we would get another choose one card within this set, given the fact that Fandral Staghelm has been rotated back in. Though this isn't really a card that was needed for that style of deck, it is really, really nice, and we will see a lot of really good synergy with this card, as it does look like they're trying to bring in Guardian Druids from World of Warcraft into Hearthstone, and honestly, I love that deck. I tried to do something very similar with the Druid Colossus, I think towards the end of Castle Nathria before the mini set actually came out, and it actually turned out way better than I originally expected. And I can't wait to try out a very similar deck again. The choose one on this, you probably won't ever choose the 3/3 Beetles with Taunt, but the 12 armor is always really, really nice. Next card revealed is Chitinous Plating, which is a 2-cost spell that gains 4 armor, and at the start of your next turn, gain 4 more. Honestly, not the worst thing in the world. I think for 1 additional mana, you could use the barrel, whatever it's called, where you either get to choose 4 attack or 8 armor. But this does give you a little bit of additional survivability, and also does prevent your opponent from eating through all of your armor before you go into your following up turn. It actually reminds me of Frozen Bulker in a lot of ways, because it is a very similar style of card. Instead of waiting to get 5 of your armor removed, in the case of Frozen Bulker, you're getting 4 additional armor on the following up turn, which does give you some additional synergy, especially with some of the next cards, such as Crypt Keeper, which is a 8-cost 4-attack undead minion with 6 HP that has taunt and costs 1 less for each armor you have. So if you use this in combination with the last card just revealed, on turn 3, you only really need 1 additional armor, so you could actually play something like this. The worst case scenario, if your opponent eats all of your armor, but if they don't, you could even just play this on turn 3 pretty consistently, I would say, probably in Druid, as there are ways to gain a bunch of armor, and there is a 3-cost mana spell that does give you 8 armor, thus allowing you to play this no matter what on turn 3, and is a big enough board threat for you to want to run in a armor gaining Druid deck. Now for the next card, Underking, which is a 7-cost 6-attack 6 HP undead minion with Rush, Battlecry, and Deathrattle, gain 6 armor. For a 7-cost minion, this might be a little bit too little of armor to actually see a lot of play, but given the next card that we will be going over, I do think this one will probably play pretty decently in a Guardian Druid deck, as it does give you 12 armor for us the time it is actually still out on the board, and once it actually dies. Also serving as removal, because it does have a rush on it, so you could in theory gain the 12 armor right away, and then use some of the other armor gaining synergies that we have seen so far to actually be able to abuse a full board really, really easily. And now for the last card revealed, Anub'Rekhan, who is a 8-cost 7-attack 7 HP undead minion with a Battlecry. Gain 8 armor. This turn, your minions cost armor instead of mana. This is such a cool card. I never thought I would ever see a card like this printed outside of Warrior. I'm assuming the reason they went with Druid instead of Warrior for this card is the fact that it is a little bit harder to actually abuse in Druid if you aren't running that many armor gaining cards within the deck. But between this, Earthen Scales, the other things that have rotated back in that gain you a bunch of armor, I think you could in theory get an entire board full of really, really big minions for basically nothing. If you can put up some type of taunt wall also in between you and your opponent, then this card will make your life a lot easier, as long as they don't even have any type of removal. But if they do have some type of removal, there is enough really good Deathrattles in Druid where you could actually abuse this pretty easily. I'm honestly really happy with how this card turned out, and it looks really, really awesome. Like, I love this artwork. I wonder what the animation for it is going to be. I think this is the Druid deck I've been most excited to play for quite a long time. It's such a unique way and a unique idea to bring back into Hearthstone that has never really existed. The only other spec at this point that hasn't existed in Hearthstone Druid from World of Warcraft, at least in any big form, would I think be Resto Druid because they haven't ever printed enough cards to support it. But honestly, like, I'm shocked. Guardian Druid, it looks really, really fun. I know I'm kind of weird for saying that, but it looks like a real fun deck to play. All right, so those were all the cards revealed today. Let me know which deck you're most looking forward to playing, either Casino Mage or Guardian Druid. I'm honestly really looking forward to Guardian Druid. It's probably one of the decks that I really want to try out week 1, though I think no minion Demon Hunter might be before, but we'll see. And like always, if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.